So, welcome everybody. And today, even though we're doing a pre-record, you will tell immediately that this is quite candid anyway. I'm joined by an amazing photographer with a passion for pretty much everything photographic. If you read his kind of bio on Purple Port, Theta Aeterna, and welcome. I don't think we should waffle anymore, to be honest, because I think we're going to talk about some really, really great image. Thank you for agreeing to do a talk photography session and sharing 8 of your images with us and things. Really, have you done these kind of things before?
No, it's my first time.
I don't
I'm
believe
a baby in photography compared to you, like just
yeah, that's why I'm called the dinosaur. Okay, soon to be extinct is what they say anyway. Theta, whereabouts you based? How did you get into photography? Where did it all start for you?
Okay, it's a long story, but my mom used to work in Munich for the Agfa company, and they used to produce small automatic cameras and simple single-use flash units. You know, you have bought in an 8-pack or 16-pack or whatever, and of course film. And my mom used to bring home all these small automatic cameras, and we were totally in love with it, just use it. But till I think 10 years ago, I was never into photography that much. So I shot and I loved shooting, but I always think that professionals are better with it, so let them do the job. But after a while, I just got interested more and more in it, but mostly landscape photography, astrophotography, and I actually didn't like photographing people at all till I became a father. Then I started to run after my kids and photographing their growth. And then one day, I was in Flickr and saw an image from a photographer called, what was his name? Milan von Brunn. And that was a beautiful landscape, a very dramatic thing, one pile of sand, and in the sand, half visible, a nude body. And that shocked me. It's like it gave me something. And one thing I can also add, I lived in Berlin for quite a long time. And of course, Helmut Newton was everywhere. So yeah, and that was also maybe an impact. But I didn't care about other people's styles at all. It was just that view, that picture just gave me an impulse to try this thing out. Yeah. And shortly after, I was walking in the north shore of the Netherlands between Zandvoort and Noordwijk. So this is the beach, long beach. And between the beaches, between the two beaches, there are pillars, very old wooden pillars. And I just imagined a model with an umbrella on one of these pillars. And just that gave me the impulse. And I start to think where I find the model and everything, then suddenly stumble on Purple Port. That's the start.
Excellent. And whereabouts are you based now? Where's
I am now in the Algarve, very close to Faro, in southern Portugal. Yeah, that's why I have the nicest studio that you can imagine, an 11-kilometer long beach. I can choose the lighting according to the time of the day. And we have 310 days of sunlight here, so very sunny days. And that's why I can imagine whatever I want as long as it's on the beach or on the rocks or around, and that gives me the most fun.
Brilliant. With the obviously your work is dominant in black and white.
Yeah.
What kind of drew you to black and white photography? You know, so where's obviously Agfa was a world of color, so you know your photography would have begun in color and things really. Where was the kind of the switch to the monochrome? Where did you kind of think I want to be shooting this instead of color?
I think that was the contrast.
Okay.
And I was impressed. I don't know the image I saw, but I was impressed by dark sky, like really inky sky. And that drove me so much. I thought, okay, nice skin color on this inky sky and white beach is what I'm after. It's like, it just hit me. And I love colored images. I love a lot of color images. But when I shoot, I feel like it complements me more somehow. What I want to say is easier to say when it's in black and white. And I even, most of the time, my camera is just on black and white. It's, of course, I still have the color data, but I shoot in black and white. I see everything on the EVF in black and white. And I really enjoy that.
I think it's a skill in its own right, in fact, seeing the world in monochrome. I think it's easier. I think color can complicate kind of the whole world at times.
Yes, and it distracts me. When I am in black and white, I feel like I understand the sky better. I understand the background better. For instance, I can see the clutter better. So if there's any clutter that I want to, I get distracted, or the image gets distracted, let's say. Yeah, I see that much quicker.
So before we start to look at some of the images and talk about them and things really, obviously you're preferring outdoor location because it's on your doorstep, as it were. Do you ever do any kind of studio work at all, or any artificial flash or anything? Is it all natural light?
Yeah, I have that. Sometimes I use some field flash, even outside.
Okay.
But I have to say, there are so many good studio photographers, and they do such a great job. I feel like that's not the direction I want to go at all. And second thing is, I love to be outside. There is nothing more boring than sitting in a studio moving a C-stand around. It's like, it's boring.
Hey, don't get insulted now.
No, for me, it's like it just starts to get on my nerves. I just did it once, and I was thinking, okay, you can create amazing things if you have those ideas. But when I'm out and I get the fresh air and different juices start to move, and I get far more creative, believe me.
Yeah, good. Yeah. You talk about on your Purple Port page and things really, you talk about unorthodox and you talk about out of the box ideas and so on with it. Yeah. How does that kind of knit with your ideas before you go out onto location or preparing for a shoot? How does it all come together?
Okay, so first of all, one of my favorite images I ever shot was shot under parachute cloth hammock that I brought to a harsh light on the beach. So I wanted to create a softbox outside. What I try to say is I just want to create a thing that it's in my head, and if it's out of the box, I like it and just try to make it. It's not like I'm not forcing it, or I want to come with a quirky idea. I just have them, and when they are there, I do everything to make them happen. So there is no process in me that tries to do something.
And is it you working alone with the model, or do you have like an assistant, a photographer along or anything, or how does it work for you?
Okay, most of the time I'm alone. Sometimes I'm not. That picture you have now on the screen, that was slightly assisted by the lovely boyfriend of the model, who was there with the reflector, the very same one that's under my laptop right now. And yeah, but most of the time, no, I'm alone, totally alone. And I like that interaction a lot. Chaperones and boyfriends, assistants, doesn't matter normally, but I prefer to be alone. Yeah.
I mean, they can almost get in the way at times when they're.
That is correct, and I don't like
they don't even realize they're being distracting, do they?
Yes.
They think they're helping, but in fact, it's just that little bit of a kind of a distraction off the side of things. Before we go to the first image, why do standard fashion photography and lingerie shoots not appeal to you? Is there just because you say that on your Purple Port page, so it's kind of how different. How do you differentiate your work, do you think, from those kind of basic genres?
Okay, I don't see them as genres. My reason for rejecting, I don't reject it, but let's say my reason for not liking that genre, for shooting myself, is actually a total arbitrary reason that I like the women, how they react when they are nude. Yeah. So they become a different person when they have heavy makeup. They become a total different person when they have different type of clothes. And lingerie changes their attitude. I don't like the over-sexualized female thing for myself. So when I shoot, I like them to be more authentic, as much authentic as they can be. And when they are nude, I feel like, because like shooting outside, outdoors is also a bit more of a natural process, the whole image gets more natural for me. I don't know how to express it, but lingerie shoots and the fashion thing is just, there is a lot of pretend happening. When someone is naked, they're just naked, nothing's left, and I like that. I just like that.
Very good. Okay, let's go to our first image, shall we? So this image, it's a strong one to start with, put it like that.
Thank you.
What was the idea behind this?
Okay, so this is actually just an experiment, because this shot will be redone with another model. Whole group of shots will be done, and it will become a calendar. And the idea was, before I started to work with models, I had my how do you say it, ideas about what a woman is and the categories of them, their characteristics and how they behave. And everything changed after I started to work with models, because when they share their personal life with me, I realized there are so many more facets in women than I know. So this idea was to have a very sexy woman with her own sexuality connected with actually her being also a cook and a mom at home.
Yeah.
So the idea was to have different images showing the female part of the mother or the woman, and the motherly and other personal things that we connect with female nature. Just wanted to create a stark contrast again between the two things, to show the world that they have more facets than just being one thing.
How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel about? I mean, because when I look at this image, it's quite erotic.
Yeah.
You can't help because the close-up and obviously a prop and things, and that tends to actually go. How do you feel about exploring erotica within nude photography? Do you find yourself more on the classic side, you know, the fine art nude? I know you're open to any idea and you'll play around with ideas, but do you find yourself leaning more towards the classic shoot, or do you like more of the erotica? How do you balance that?
I'm torn a bit in between. It's like I like to break the boundaries a bit, but I also know that sometimes some images go beyond what I want to say. So I like to control what I'm saying.
Yep.
For instance, here I made sure that everything is round, straight, amazing, but still the spoon is there and you cannot remove it. It's tightly integrated into the picture, right? But if the image calls, I will do it.
Because it's not everybody's taste, and you know, I think in this world where expression, you know, at times we can almost be dragged into being more politically correct, and you know, and I it doesn't matter what I think. Do you know what I mean? It's people who view our images. They can make up their own minds about them, and we can never kind of control that, and they'll always have a comment. But are you worried about how things are perceived and things at all?
No. Not at all. But what I think about is sometimes what the model perceives and what she wants to have out there. Yeah. So that's a different story. So of course we are all photographers. We have shots in the drives that shouldn't be seen by other people, and that happens too. But I'm really concerned of the safety and personal lives of the models too. Sometimes they might have a leap of judgment or just want to explore things that is just for me or just us to enjoy and not to just show it to the whole world. That's it.
And then on a curveball question, post-production. So to begin with, you know, do you have like you said you shoot black and white in camera, but you're working from RAW. So when you're bringing the RAW color file in, have you got a go-to kind of technique in black and white that you use all the time? Is most of the black and white being done in the RAW, or is it being done in the likes of Photoshop?
No, it's done in the RAW, and I use mostly red filter, especially if I shoot in the south here in Algarve. And if I shoot a bit more north, then I might change it to a yellow or orange filter, depends on the light. And sometimes I might use a green filter, but red filter is my way to go. because it gives me the maximum control over the blues, and that gives me that deep tone that I'm after. But I must say, the latest model I was working with was Min Lee. She's Canadian, but actually from a Vietnamese background, totally different skin color. Yeah. And I realized the typical put the red filter on and be happy with it is not working. So I have to work around. But yeah, I normally put stuff to the Lightroom, sometimes Capture One if I feel like it, but normally Lightroom is my way to go. Yep. And then from there, I adjust all the colors the way I want, and then make things darker, blacker, brighter, everything in Photoshop.
And do you print your own work out, or is it pretty much?
I want to do it more. Yeah, I want to do it more. I found a new print house in Lisbon, and that's very attractive. And I will start very soon with the new project, with the spoon project and other utensils. So let's say, and I will work with that too.
Yeah, you've got to print your images. I mean, as I said, we're only looking at the first one, as it were, but you know, they will absolutely print photographically beautifully as well with it and things.
Why do you think that? Can you explain it to me? Because I'm
just the tone. Yeah, the tone. I think the tones that you're using, at least with the images that I've seen of yours and everything else with it, especially things with sky, the way that they'll actually print on paper will absolutely beautiful. It almost feels, so with this image, there's almost a film granularity to the digital file. Yeah, and I think that when you start to explore perhaps some of the art papers, you're going to fall in love with your images all over again.
I'm planning it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously recommend Hahnemühle just because I'm not supported by them, but I spend a lot of money on Hahnemühle paper. But it just really does create a different depth of black as well, and you can get really frustrated at times in blacks. And once you find your paper that works for you, then you're basically going to absolutely kind of run with it and things really. But I think when you start to see your images big photographically, I think it will blow your mind as well with it and things really.
Well, I used to print my Astros mostly 1 meter wide, and I'm in love with that. But here in this region, printing is a big problem.
Yeah.
So I had bad experience, let's say. So I have to change that and find a new place to print. And after a while, I think there's no running away from it. I have to buy a big printer and just
at some stage. But even the likes of an A3 printer, in fact, will kind of, you'll see your images in a different light with it. It's a bit like when you turn, I'm not sure if you've turned your monitor into a vertical position. I've got a monitor on my side here that's always in vertical, and when you look at an image, and I shoot a lot of portrait up images, in other words, when you look at it, it's kind of, oh my god, that is amazing, it's just that big. Or I mean, today I was at a studio doing some mentoring, and they've got a 75-inch monitor, and their images looked absolutely spectacular. Yeah, you've got to start to print these images and things. Right, let's move on to our next image. The water image. How did this come about?
Okay, so this shoot is very interesting because Valeria, the model here, she contacted me. She wanted to shoot with me, and most of her shots were not my taste at all, except one video where she was in Paris and super happy. That looked like I can work with her. And when we were at the beach, this was like mid-shoot at the end. The light was so nice. I said, I want to immerse you into the water. The waves will come. You can never know when they come. You feel like drowning, but I have to have your honest face on it. And she said, yes. The water was cold. It was April, but we did it, and it worked. I love this picture. I love the goosebumps. I like the nipple being totally shocked by the temperature. There was also wind, but still the facial expression is just amazing. This is all her work, not my work. It was just amazing.
How do you capture or control, I should say, the technical challenges that when you're working with on location, you know, different times of year as far as temperature is concerned, different times of the year to do with the quality of the light and things. How does it, you know, in your head, do you plan certain images at different times of the year, or does it just happen?
No, it most of the images just happen in my head, and then I just give my best to capture them the way I want. There is sometimes planning on what I want to shoot. My last shoot was like that. I planned a lot. I knew I made even small edits on phone pictures that I shot from the locations, how I want to put the model and everything. I even shared it. But normally there is no planning at all. I just go, I know where I am, I get the model, I test the light, and I adjust everything and I go with it. But that said, I have a pretty good understanding the moon phases, when they are there, when the sunlight is the best, when it's going down, when I get the blue hour, golden hour, all that stuff is in my head. I have applications for it, I follow it. And I know where sun goes up and down, so that means I adjust the locations accordingly. So there are places I would never shoot in the morning, and there are places I would never shoot in the evening.
Okay.
According to the light.
And in the kind of staying with the shoot for a minute, I know this is an extreme image as far as what the model can cope with, as far as how long she can stay in water and so on. But as a rule, how long is a shoot for you? Do you shoot all day, or do you shoot in small pockets during the day? How does it work for you?
Okay, so my favorite shooting pace is 300 to 400 shots per 2 hours. Because I do a lot, I have to keep the wave going. I have to catch the water at the right spot. So I am on sometimes shooting really many frames at the same time.
Yep.
But that said, after 2 hours, I lose my interest. I lose my interest in the model. I lose my interest in shooting. I just lose interest. It's not being tired. It's just the fun is over. Can we make a break? And then we can look back. But if I make every 30, 40 minutes a break and just change the location, then I can go on for 6 hours.
Yeah.
But I don't like that normally.
I think having locations helps photographers as well. I think if at times when you're confined to a studio, if they don't change lighting, accessories or backgrounds or propping or whatever it is, it can get quite monotonous very fast, I think, and it's just that kind of versatility. Let's talk techie for a minute. The camera wise, what are you shooting at present? What do you like to shoot with? Dare I ask what lens? I know what's coming here, or what you don't shoot with. Yeah.
So first of all, you see this nifty 50. I never use it. I don't like how it renders. I don't like how it focuses. I normally use this guy right here is a Nikon Z7 II.
Yeah.
That's a Z. If you want, I can say Z.
Yeah.
I have, this is my favorite portrait lens, the
105.
Macro 105 2.8. It has one disadvantage: you see every pore, every nick, everything. But you can always put grain on if you want, but you cannot get back detail. And the detail and the feeling I get from it is just phenomenal. I love this lens. Sometimes I even try to go as much back as possible so I can use it. I use 70 to 200 a lot, 2.8, and I use a 20 millimeter 1.8 a lot. Okay. The spoon image was made with that, so I was just 10, 15 centimeters away from that spoon. Not the great feeling for the model maybe, but it was really easy to control the perspective. Yeah. And I have a 24-70 that I use on the beach a lot, 2.8, but that's not my favorite lens. Actually, no zoom lens is my favorite lens, although the 70 to 200, I really love it. I fell in love with it, but I would prefer probably going with an 85 soon, and a 35 maybe in the middle sometime.
Yeah. And do you kind of shoot at a desired aperture all the time? Do you like something specific, or?
No, so it depends totally what I see. If I want to add the depth, for instance, yesterday we were shooting at the Black Rocks, so I wanted to add some depth, then I will change the aperture. I don't mind. I don't care for that. But when I shoot astro, of course, I try to stay under 2.0. And if I shoot with my 200, I try to keep at 2.8 so I can have the big depth happening. But no, especially with my macro lens, it's far more, because the depth of field feels totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are more flexible. You can go to 3.5, 4, 5.6 easily, no problem.
A macro lens, a 105 macro lens, is an animal in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally
It
agree.
doesn't
Yes.
growl like anything. It doesn't, it doesn't act like any other lens, in my opinion, with it. Often, because I shoot a lot of food photography, and my go-to lens on that is a 105. But you have to shoot on 16 to actually get a depth
That's
of around
correct.
about 6 inches on a plate, kind of thing with it. They don't
Yes,
realize
that's
that.
totally correct. But
Characteristic.
that said, the advantage of it is you can play with the feeling far more, because when you shoot so much detail, you can just blur whatever you want. It might need work, but you can really just make the image pop the way you want. And I don't have that with 1.8 50 millimeter, because there is a way of functioning, and that's it. So there is nothing left for me to work with, and I really like editing images. Like, I really love it. It's for me the next step of art. Oh, this one is one of my favorites ever.
Okay, let's talk about this image then.
Yeah, so this was a cupboard. First, I put her in. She just, because she's very flexible. Bogdan is a ballerina. And we made some shots, but I said, okay, I want you to get in, turn to the right, and try to search for something. We put the high heels on, and it was like, it's a bit of a Tinto Brass moment, let's say. So this is an amazing rear, and I wanted to have the light just bring shadows on her back, because she has a very strong back as a ballerina. And yeah, it turned out great. I love it. And this is my type of erotica, actually. So it's not too obvious, it's attractive. And what I like to convey is, I was telling this to the models the last shoots always, I want them to give the feeling that that the viewer have to fight to get their attention, not have their attention, or have the chance to have them touch them. Like, there has to be still a barrier between them that has to be overcome. I like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's a change from a beach view.
Yeah, that's true.
And our next image.
Yeah, this is from my first shoot ever. This is in the Netherlands.
All right.
And Avery is very well known for her work in Met Art and other magazines from that time. And she agreed to do a shoot with me, and it was amazing because I learned so much in that day. This is actually like 20 minutes after we started shooting. And there was this amazing path, and Avery saw it and said, there is a beautiful light, can I shoot there? I said, yeah, if you walk there and throw away your stuff, then it might feel like you are going to the place you want to go, direction, water. And she did. We shot this, I would say, like 5 minutes, because every time it looked like stagnant, till we get the feeling with the beautiful light that she's actually moving. Yeah, because every time she wanted to drop, she stopped and dropped. And I was like, maybe you don't stop, but I shot this with 105, I guess, and it doesn't focus that fast. So we had a lot of shots out of focus till we get this one. It took a bit, but I'm super happy with the result.
Do you ever find that the lighting changes the initial idea? So in other words, all of a sudden, the sun goes in or the sun comes out. Are you spontaneous like that, and you go, right, oh my God, we've got to change this now, or whatever? How does it work?
Yeah, not just that. I had a beautiful model here staying with me for several days, so we shoot. And I was minding my own business, working on my day job. And she came, just casually start to do yoga. And the light was so amazing from outside. And I immediately imagined her in this light in negative. Like, all the lights are black and all the shadows are white. And I asked her, not so kindly, remove your stuff. But I couldn't wait. So it was like, I didn't want to be rude. She understood the immediacy. She removed everything, and I said, child position, down, boom. We shot everything in 3 minutes. Still one of my favorite shots here because the light was so delicious, I couldn't not do it. So I do everything according to the light, what the feeling comes from it.
You talked about your passion for kind of landscape photography initially, before humans, as it were. Do you think there's a real kind of now synergy between the two? Do you like to have the two elements in most of your images? Is it? Yeah.
Definitely. Except if I really observe one of my models, I want to observe them and shoot while I'm observing them. It's a different story. But if I am creating the image in my head, definitely they're all part of the landscape, and I don't want it the other way. So this, and same goes with Astro, by the way. That's why I wanted to share some new images later on. I like to shoot them under the moonlight. It's just very attractive for me.
Compositional wise here, obviously we've got a small figure in landscape with it.
Yeah.
And I'm a lover of that. I shoot a lot of that kind of spatial. Is that pretty much your kind of go-to start, or do you start closer up to the subject? How do you kind of get the shoot going to begin with if you're working on location?
That's not an easy thing to answer, because sometimes I really want to get close and let everything butter up and smoothly disappear. But I like it when you have the feeling of movement, the dynamics of the landscape. I like the dynamic here, for instance. I like the dynamics of all the bush just moving around with the wind and reflecting different light, and just be part of her, and she becomes the part of it. I'm not the person who thinks that everything around a person is just too much. I like to have them all together.
Very good. Before we start to talk about this image, another image I love, about directing models, are you giving them the kind of the story of how you want it to progress, or are you continually commenting, kind of giving them direction? How does your kind of shoot work for you?
Okay, both. Okay, I'm a stubborn guy. I have my own opinion and I want to have it on my picture. But in some cases, I need the model to become the art. So sometimes I create the art with the narrative, and sometimes I want them to create it for me. Yeah. And it's an interaction. That's why I'm super happy if the model is understanding what I want and just runs with it and starts to create things that I cannot even myself imagine in that moment. This picture is one of them, by the way. That's a good segue to this image.
And when you're kind of in that transitional, so, you know, if you could talk me through this image, you know, when they're kind of almost getting undressed, what's your kind of description, how you would explain to the likes of the model to actually kind of get to this image and things? Because obviously we've got a certain element of light just kissing the face, kissing the body as well with it. Talk me through how you would talk through that with the model as they're kind of going, because that light might not be there for long, isn't it? As it is, it could be obviously a room light, but it could be a shaft of sunlight coming through a window as well. How would you kind of direct them and things?
Okay, so in this case, my direction was only, I want you to remove your top till your chin, and I want you to be sensual, but wait for me. This shot was done within 3 minutes, and this position was held around 3 minutes. So she really excelled in it, keeping the body tension and everything.
Yeah.
So I made a makeshift light. I didn't have any studio light with me. I just had a Godox V1 light and a huge Manfrotto. Do you know these circular? Yeah. So portable diffusers. And I had the diffuser on, and I put 2 lights. So she has the flash, and she has from the bottom 2 iFootage small LED units that just gives a bit light from the bottom to the chin, so to speak. Yep. And after that, it was automatic. I moved far away. I shot this picture from 7 meters with the 200. I just backed off, keep saying, keep it steady, keep it, till I got it. I was like, okay, this is amazing. We have it. So this was pure pure direction, but she decided how she wants to have these poses with her hands, because she's very expressive with her hands. So that means this is a collab of how I want to see her face and her how she wants to remove the top.
How do you convey to a model the kind of emotion that you want them to kind of bring about? Because obviously there's a difference in all types of sexuality, isn't there? There's a sadness and there's a comfortable and there's a glow, and how do you kind of try and drag that out of the model? I know that a good model will just respond at a word, isn't it? Softer or more harder or aggressive or kind of just more erotic, kind of they'll go with that. But is there a technique that you use to actually kind of bring the kind of the emotion out that you're trying to get with that image?
It depends how many hours we have. So lately it's easier for me because I am in a holiday place. So models are happy to come and spend more time with me here. So they have more time to see around, and that gives us the chance to know each other better and talk. Same was with that shot, but this is in Netherlands, by the way. And Valeria was very nice to stay with me overnight. So she was super relaxed. We could talk, we could discuss things. And this shot came after we were shooting already 3-4 hours. And I said, okay, I want you to sensually remove it, but I don't want to be extremely sexy or anything. I just want you to remove and know that this is going to be an image that you are into you and there is some sensuality to it. But I don't like over-sexualized pictures much. And I say that from the very beginning to the models. I show their pictures they have when they have over-sexualized pictures, in my opinion, of course. And I say that I don't want this. Like, this is not what I'm after. That means I mostly tell them what I don't want. And I'm very open with them. When something happens that's amazing, I'm like, oh, amazing, keep it. I love it. This is wonderful. They see me smiling. And when I don't like the expression, they see me frowning. I'm saying, oh, this is not working for me. Too fake. I don't want it. But it works. So till now, I didn't have any pressure or like any reaction in a negative way, because when the images come, and I share the images all the time, I show when something happens immediately, I show, look, this is amazing. I want to have this and I want to keep doing this. So they understand visually what I actually want.
Do you let's move on to the next image. Do you look for a particular type of model? Because quite a lot of photographers, they've got a kind of a hit list of the body shaping, the style, even physicality to do with dancer or kind of more voluptuous. With what's your kind of head? Are you looking specifically for a type of model shape?
Yes and no. I am totally in love with eyes, and I choose models with certain type of eyes, but I'm also in love with butts. I think you already realized that till now. And I like different shapes of butts. I'm not I'm not into one type of butt. I just want to feel like this person is fit and the butt helps them move. So it sounds funny, but I'm into healthy looking body. One of my models that I shot with, she has big breasts, very long legs, very tall. And I shot with her because I wanted to have her for an astro shot, where it's important to have the length of the legs with the pronounced chest, because when I see her from the side, I have the round butt on the bottom, round chest on the top, and long legs having a nice curve. But except that, I mostly look into what kind of expression the model has. For instance, Bogdana in this picture, I have an image from her. I saw an image from her where she lifts the arms and have a very tight, amazing posture, and that sold it to me. It was not about her chest, not her butt. I didn't even see her butt to that moment, and not the face, nothing. I was just the amazing strength and expression of tension. That was what I was after. So yeah, it depends. But I like dancers mostly.
Yeah, talk to me about this image. How did this kind of come about?
Okay, so I can be really elaborate and make a story here, but actually we were doing something a bit more casual, more, let's say, Bogdan was on the sand. We were shooting with different seashells and everything. Then I saw the boat coming. And I asked her, Bogdan, can you just turn? She turned. Keep the glasses in your hand. Yeah, just put the hand on. Look at the boat. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. So this is it actually. So I just saw it. The frame just came into me, and I acted on it. We waited till the boat is around 1/3 of the image, and I said, okay, now. And that was it. So it didn't take much effort, no thinking, no planning, nothing. It's just it came, we took it.
I think this is a good image to revisit the post-production, the technique and everything else of it, because obviously you've got so much sky, we've got kind of highlight on sand and everything else with it. Could you talk through what you're looking at when you're making your adjustments in Lightroom specifically? Could you just talk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I am totally obsessed with how the sand looks. And the reason for that is it's like the walls on your studio. So this has a big impact on how everything is lit and how everything functions. And I like to give the impression of being on Mars a bit or being on the moon, have a different type of texture. So I start not with the sky, I start actually how the sand looks for me. After that, I want to keep the water separate from the sky, except I want to give you the feeling of infinity. And then when I analyze the texture and color of water, how I want to have it, because it can totally change, then I work on the sky. So what I do is I take the red filter on the list, the profile, and then I'll go to the blues and then start to drive the blues. But sometimes first I would play with the white balance to change where the blues are and when the yellows are. I don't want to skip that. And sometimes I shoot with a polarizer filter, and sometimes I would shoot with a mist filter.
Yeah.
Those changes a bit how I approach it, because the highlights change. But if there is no filter or just polarizing filter, then I start to bring the blues and the cyan a bit low till I find the sweet spot. And I would go play with the blacks in the sky. I mask the sky, and I don't want it to look fake. So I would mask it, and then I will increase the clarity and sometimes texture just to have a bit more accentuated clouds, or go to the opposite way. I just make everything far more lush and misty. So it's just how I feel.
Great, brilliant though. Okay, speaking of shells and girls on beach.
Yeah, this was just 3 minutes before the boat shot. This was what we were shooting. Yeah, so here the shadow just killed me. I saw it and I said, Bogdana, can you just turn your hips slightly direction of water? And she did, and it was just the shadows and the hip bones and how the ribs. This is an amazing shot for me that gives me the feeling that I was not the one who shot it. I still can look at it as an artwork from someone else. This feels like mine and not mine at the same time, because it has its own life. This is something I would like to print soon. Yeah, I love this image a lot. And what I like here is also it's not overly sexualized, and of course the seashell is the bush, and that's why I chose a seashell that is so lumpy and not straight lined. Just wanted to give the chaotic character of a real pubic hair. And I like the shadow on the face so much. Just one nostril is visible, and yeah. So this was a real composition for me. I worked on it. I took my time.
Yeah.
I made it happen. Yeah.
And focus point on here. Where's your focus point? Where would you kind of want the viewer to look at?
Close to the chest, I would say, because I wanted, Bogdana doesn't have a big chest. So I wanted the chest to be the tipping point of the picture, because the head then just disappears behind. And I didn't want to focus on the bush either, because I wanted to be a bit more chaotic and out of focus. I wanted to be on the brighter spot, which is here, the left breast. If you look from here, the right side, so to speak.
Yeah.
That I wanted to have the focus on. Yeah.
Very good. And our last image.
Yeah. This is also Bogdana, and this is from my second session with her. So this changed my life, because this was morning, 9 o'clock-ish, 8 or 9 o'clock-ish in Lisbon. I chose that hotel room for this window, and we got stuck a bit with the ideas, and Bogdana just moved a bit, and the light, all the shadow, divided her in two. And I was like, I love this. Just come on, we have to work.
Yeah.
The thing is, I couldn't shoot this with many models because this shot is actually a full body shot, and I shot it from the bottom. So that means normally the genitals, everything is going towards up, and that's why the angle is so weird, but I like that angle. So I shot it from the bottom, and I'm in love with the result. It's just, this speaks to me, and it changed forever because it taught me so many things, like how to use the sunlight for my advantage, how to use the shadows to create something out of nothing, and how to talk to the models who would actually not be open to show their genitals, because without me being able to shoot with a 24 from the bottom uphill, this picture would never happen. And I cropped the head because I think this is the most important part of the image.
And when you've kind of finished the shoot and you're into the curation mode, so you're editing, how are you distinguishing the good away from the mediocre? Do you know what I mean? So you'll shoot a load of image, but is there, I'm not sure if it's possible to answer, to be honest, Theta, but is there something that clicks with you and you go, that's the image, that's the feeling I wanted, you know?
100%. It's the thing here is, I shoot most of my images quite flat because I have an image in my head which is already prepared in Photoshop for the last moment, so to speak. So I have a vision before I shoot the picture how I want to have it. And that gives me the advantage to remember most of the shots I made during the shooting. That means when I am on my laptop to work on them, I don't have many surprises. So most of them are already in my brain. But what I do is I don't like to rush my post-production. I have a time frame of 3 months. I start the first day, I make the ones that I'm mostly in love with. And then in several days or a week or two, I come back and see other images that are interesting to me. But sometimes after several months, I come back and I find gems inside. That's why I'm not getting rid of a lot of images. Normally, I clean up my raw files 6, 7, 8 months after I shoot them.
Very good. Thank you very much. A couple of questions to finish with. I love your images. You know that. I've kind of said before we began, you know that, and that's why I got in touch with you as well and things. Let's talk about controversial, or you know, we began with the spoon image, didn't we?
Yeah.
And for many, that's a whoa image. You kind of stand back from it or whatever it is. Others will go, show me more, isn't it? That, you know, it's going to be Marmite, we call it in UK.
Yes, I love
most of you like I love Marmite too, and so does my wife. But the unconventional stuff, do you find yourself trying to be unconventional more? Or do you kind of, I'm not sure how I'm trying to explain it really, or are you trying to shock? Are you trying to do the unexpected, or are you just kind of letting it kind of come out and just play with the body and play with the light? And I don't know how to explain it really, but.
Yes, I totally understood you. So there are two aspects to it. First of all, my interaction with the model. So at the spoon image, that particular model do not have many butt shots and definitely no genital shots. So this is that shoot was for her, okay, so very uncomfortable, right? So my idea, I had to convey my idea. I said, look, I want to do this. This is what I want. What do you say? But I didn't try to get unconventional. It's like, it just attracts me to have some quirky ideas and just go for it. It's an experimentation process, and I really like it. Like building wacky cars from Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really the same thing for me. So I just go for it. And I'm also a drummer. I also like polyrhythms, weird time signatures. I like to have options that I just play with. If not, it would be very boring for me. And but I don't try to shock you, no. Because I don't even see myself as an artist, and I don't try to impress you with my artistic quality. I just experiment a lot. If you have the same joy looking at that picture like I have, I'm super happy, because now we have type of resonance. We resonate around the same thing like Marmite. And if you don't, I just don't really, it doesn't really matter for me. I just don't really care about it, because I know that you might not like Marmite and you like other colors and other cameras and everything other. Everyone is their own, so I'm okay with it. And you can also, I'm open for critique always. Somebody says, why did you cut it like that? And I say, because I felt like it. And that's about it. There is not much thought about it. I wanted to have the model exactly there, and the corner there, and the tip there, and that's how I saw it, and I just wanted to have. So there is no thinking process behind conventional, unconventional, out of the box. Yes, it says on my portfolio that I like out of the box thinking and models, because that gives me options. Like, it gives me new colored Lego stones, tiles that you didn't have before, and I can do new things with it, right?
Yeah. So you're obviously a Lego fan like me then. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's there also, so I always talk about it.
I've just spent the whole Sunday building a police station with my grandkids, or three of my grandkids.
It's so much fun. Yes, it's fun.
It's taken over half the dining room table at this point, and it's about 2 feet high. I didn't know that anyway.
Yes.
Peter, I mean, amazing. Thank you. I know we're going to grab you back again, and I've got to be honest. Theta has come over a bit serious, but in fact, we were laughing and joking before we went live, and that's just the kind of discussions that we have on Talk Photography and things. Really, is going over to your Purple Port site the best place to see your work?
Yes, and can you open one image? I want to talk about it. So we were talking about the sexuality, and you have second row, the butt shot. Yeah, that one. So for instance, that one this is the maximum controversial I would go, so to speak, if I want to convey a certain type of sexuality. This is my level I feel comfortable with. And this is also an example how I want to include the landscape into the woman, and the woman into the landscape. And it took a lot of time to do this, because I have to throw a lot of sand.
Yeah. It reminds me of, this is out there, the island in Moana.
Okay.
Based on a Hawaiian princess or whatever, or goddess or whatever it is. Do you know what I'm on about? It reminds me of that kind of thing with it, and I love bodyscapes and things, really.
Me too. Yeah. And the last image I want to talk about, if it's okay for you, just one more image. If you go down, there is the third image from top. The third top layer, the third one. Yeah, that one. This is very new. It's just one day old. It was too nice. Yeah. So this is the way I want to go. This is my direction. I want to build more on this, because I really love shooting moonlight, starlight.
Oops, hang on. There we go. Sorry.
That I would go. Yeah, this is the place I want to be.
Talk me through this image then. How's this shot?
Okay, so we are at the rocks on top of I think we are 100 or more meters up high, and we are direct at the cliff. It looks westward, so the west, we are really, the right side is the west and the other one is east. And we have on the east, we have the moon high up at 90%. So there is no extra light on this image, nothing. This is just moonlight kissing Min Lee's body, nothing else. And the thing was, Min Lee was just reading on doing typical model things you do when you have to work with the Instagram and whatnot, and the clothes were on and everything. And when the stars start to get visible, I said, okay, we have to move it up, and perfect. I just love it. Of course, it's a bit short. I wanted to be a bit longer, but I had a bush behind me. I couldn't move more. She couldn't move more. With 20, this is the maximum I could get. It's not perfect, but it's the direction I want to go. And I love to integrate beautiful woman under starry night, because I like.
What kind of length of exposure and aperture would this be?
Okay, so this was 1.8 at 2 seconds.
Okay.
On tripod, and that would be ISO, I think 600. Yeah, 500.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason is my camera lens has my camera sensor has the second base ISO at 500, has the least noise at that ISO. That's why I have to adjust everything accordingly. Yeah, but 2 seconds.
That's great. I think you're going to come back again when you've been doing some more of your moon images.
And we will have more then, because I already plan new shots with astro stuff.
I don't think I could shoot that in the UK, to be honest, because it hasn't got any grey clouds or rain
or light pollution. Yeah, for this we had to travel 1.5 hours to the west, because even just if you travel just 15 minutes southward, then you don't have the stars.
Yeah, the light pollution must be the biggest problem, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Very good. Theta, thank you so much. It's been absolutely a dream having you on board, and I've loved looking at your images and a sneaky look at some new stuff as well. So it's been great to do it. And I can tell you now already, whether they want you back or not, I want you back. So I'm sure we'll schedule something for next year and things ready. Thank you very much indeed.
Let's do that. Have a lovely time. Thank you.
Thanks, Theta.